I knew where that was going.
I didn't.
I
I'm
knew it.
so naive.
Parrot jokes are good. Any one of these stories reminded me, particularly the first one, of that hilarious Monty Python skit where John Cleese pays a customer upset because the
Pining for the fjords, baby.
parakeet that he was sold is dead, and I can't remember the guy's name on the other side. You might remember.
Michael Palin, probably.
Michael Palin, who says he's not dead, and John Cleese says, "What do you mean he's not dead? He's lying there." He says, "Oh no, he's pining." Pining for what? He misses his mate.
Pining for the fjords.
Oh, God. Well, here we are.
So, like, just as a weird aside, the place where, so whenever I go into my company's office in London, it's right next to the Michael Palin Institute for speech therapy or something. So there was this place where they wanted to help people that stuttered, and so they set up this thing, and they approached Michael Palin, who apparently as a child had a stutter.
Yes, I knew that.
And he was like, "Okay, fine. I will give you my name to put on your institute or whatever." And so it's called the Michael Palin's Institute for Speech Therapy or whatever.
Did he give him some money too?
I would assume so, but really the name is plenty.
Yeah, that's the Trump way to raise
business. Let's not use that name here yet. So, where have you been since I saw you last? Because last time I saw you,
been, my dear loved one? Where have you been, my bonny sweet one? I went down to the hardware store to buy me some screws.
Because last time I was I was down in Alicante, Spain, ready to go to party with people.
Right. Where was I? I went on my annual fishing trip.
And you went on your fishing trip. And then last week we couldn't record because I was in a little island in the Mediterranean called Malta.
And is it true that that's where they invented the milkshake?
That's where they invented the milk balls.
The milk balls?
Yes.
Right. Do you have milk balls, or are they gone too?
No, they went with my milk teeth.
Wait. They went when? When you lost your teeth?
No, I'm sorry. In other languages, we call your children's teeth milk teeth.
Milk teeth?
Yes.
I actually have heard that. Wow, you were oddly European. Well, he was just pining.
Gosh.
No, so I have a story.
Tell stories.
A little background.
That's what we're here for.
A little bit of the story, but know that a few things about this trip that made it unusual was, for the first time ever, the Salmon River outside of Pulaski, New York, just a quick half hour from Syracuse, was so low that they closed a section of the river called the Lower River, and the Lower River was already a restricted area, so that only us fly fishermen could fish there, and none of us could keep any fish.
Fly fisher.
And it was closed, and that was the site of our honey hole, and could hold 75 fishermen, and it did. There were fishermen everywhere, but we had a honey hole.
That's ridiculous.
By way of background. Now, Stayed at the same place we always stay, called the Barn. Wonderful spot. I can tell you stories about that, but I won't here. Here's the thing. We found fish in a place where we used to fish, and there was a trough of deeper water against the bank of the river, and we discovered that the bottom of that trough, about 4 foot down, so you could barely see anything but a shadow of a fish.
Yep.
There were fish. And so we knew they were there, and we just had to figure out how to get to them, which means they're deep, add a little weight on your line, means they're skittish, they're running away. Instead of using 12-pound
it's a
tests,
science
go to
problem.
a lighter line, like 8-pound tests, so they don't run away.
Yeah.
And of course, we did figure it out. Well, over the course of 6 days of fishing, 4 days of fishing, because I laid out twice.
Oh, no.
This group of 5 men, 6 men sometimes, hooked 650 salmon. And we landed 100. We had a ratio of landing to hooked of 15%. Now, hooked means that the fish is on, and you must make what we call a fisherman's move.
Ooh, that sounds sexy.
Yes. And if it's quick on and off, it doesn't count. You got to have a fisherman's move. You're playing the fish, as they say. So
Play that fish.
know that there's this long stretch then of river that is really beautiful. And just upriver from where we fish, there is a cascade of water, which is called a riffle.
Ooh.
And that's a pretty steep slope downhill, literally, on the side of a hill. The whole landscape is like a minor hill. And then when that water riffs down, it churns at the bottom, and the fish who are coming upstream to spawn have to go up there, or they won't get to where they were born. And fish spawn where they were born.
You're catching them on the way up to have sexy
Spawning.
sex.
They're to the end of to their mission, which is spawning.
You're fishing horny
And then-
salmon. You're fishing horny salmon.
It's sort of like if you want to call a pregnant woman who's ready to have a baby horny.
No. No. No.
I wouldn't. Listen, I wouldn't put it past you to think that.
Hold on.
Now that
But they're
I
not
think of it,
inseminated yet, right? They
not what?
They're not inseminated.
No. They
drop.
have to.
They
have
drop
to lay
eggs.
their eggs. The ladies have to lay their eggs, and the men have to lay their
So
milk.
they're
Have
freaking
to
horny.
squirt.
They haven't had sex in big
Well,
yet.
okay.
'Cause-
So this will fulfill your fantasy of being a fish and meeting another fish who's horny.
Yes.
So let's
No, I'm just saying.
do we want to name you Salmon?
No.
Salmon
Hold on.
Sammy?
Hold on. The reason that they're
You
they're
want
trying to
fuck
get
the
up,
salmon. That's where you're headed.
the reason
You
they're trying to
want
get
that
up there,
sex.
they want to get up there to have the fishy
God.
sex, right?
Well,
Right. So
yeah.
so
but
they're
it's-
that's their drive.
I
They're-
know you'll be disappointed to learn there's no touching. I mean,
No, but they're still okay. Like
I understand.
we can still use the word horny.
I understand what you're saying.
They're driven by biology to go there to do.
They want
stuff.
to do the thing that makes babies.
Right.
Okay.
Which
now,
is
all right. You're
yes.
right.
Okay.
Okay,
And
that's
we can use
It's a
the
better way to describe
we
it.
can use the adjective
Say-
horny or not.
Say,
But they want to do
you-
the thing that makes babies.
Yeah, horny doesn't capture it.
Well,
I mean,
I think it does.
If what it requires to, well, yeah.
so
okay,
are the boys and the girls both trying to get up there?
Yes.
To then do it up there,
Yes.
as
And
opposed
so
to
let me
just do
tell
it
you a
here,
story.
where you
So
are.
what happens on the
Like
way,
what?
all the way up the river, there's some places where along the way, on their way upstream to go to their final destination, which is way upriver, they begin the process lower down the stream, and they typically are swimming in water that's got some movement to it. You know, I wouldn't say it's fast, but it's enough that if you're standing in it, you feel the pressure of the water
maybe.
streaming down. Then about 2 or 3 feet of water, they're over gravel, and you can see them because they're only in 2-3 feet of water. And what they're doing is that the females have fanned the gravel with their tails and created a nest.
Wow.
And that nest is several inches below the surface of the otherwise flat area of gravel. And in that spot, they begin to lay their eggs. A couple of things happen.
Well,
One,
hold on,
the males,
but they haven't gotten up to the top yet, or this is at the top.
they do this all along the way.
Okay, they're
And
planting nests all the way down.
They reach a final destination. Now, in this case, I should tell you this. 'Cause
Okay.
it's very important.
'Cause this is-
that the final destination in this case is the hatchery where they were all born.
Sure.
And there are limits, then, restrictions on proximity to the hatchery, denoted by a cable that stretched from tree to tree with a sign hanging down it that says no fishing from this point on upon penalty of law. And of course, the fishing up there is really good. You can walk up there and see a portion of stream.
I thought it was going to be like
Picture,
no fish sex up here beyond penalty of law, but no, that's like where it's happening.
Picture a quarter of a football field is the size of a river that's got slow water,
Yeah.
and in that slow water, the size of a quarter of a football field, all you see in the water are the backs of fish, who are all swimming in an enormous school of fish, stacked up like fucking cordwood, and they're all fishing, and the males are fighting each other in the fields. Back to lower down the river, there's the fish with their fan nest, and they're starting to lay eggs. Two things happen. One, there are 5 males behind her.
Hold on, up at the top, it's just the fish fucking, right?
It's not what they do, but they are making babies.
Well, there are
Unless they're depleted.
There are a bunch of eggs laid and also sperm
Yes,
laid.
eggs
Milt.
and milt everywhere.
Yes.
And parenthetically,
So how do you control who? How does a female control who?
she
gets
doesn't
to-
care. She's a bit of a whore in that regard. Because let me get back to my point of earlier, a close, downriver a bit, where they fan their nest.
Yes.
And behind them lay in the water, fanning slightly, holding their ground, waiting for that hen, as she's called,
Yes.
to lay eggs, some of which will be milted by any one or more male, and most of which will be eaten, not only by those males who will eat those eggs, they're very good, but also other fish in the river, such as brown trout and such as steelhead, which, as you know, is a rainbow trout that's lived and wintered in the lake and come back up.
As
the
I
river.
know, of course.
Of course.
Okay,
And
so-
so that's by way of background. One more thing. Picture the riverbank at the end of that cascades I described, and that fast water, oxygenated, at the bottom with the fish stacked up, ready to try to climb up that trough. And then there's a smoother area of water that starts right upstream, downstream a little bit, with this tree that's bent over the water, which we call the bent tree over the water.
You're
there's a
a poet.
space.
You're a poet.
Thanks. There's a space every 10 feet for 5 fishermen in a row who are fishing against that bank where that trough is. And as you move downstream, the 5th guy, which often was me, is faced with a curve in the river where the river gets low,
Yeah.
and where, for all sorts of reasons, there are fish stacked 10, 12 deep, meaning you can look in the water and see 8, 9, 10, 12 15 to 20 pound salmon just
Okay.
hanging in the water. That's the scene.
Okay.
Questions?
This feels like the proverbial fish in a barrel. How is there
let me tell you
How is there
more.
any talent to
Let me tell you more.
throwing bait into a thing that is like fish deep?
Let me tell you then.
And then pulling something up.
let me start this with a question.
And also, I've
What do you think it would take, or what's the reason that a fish would end up on your hook?
hungry.
Why would that happen? Huh?
He's hungry.
What?
Hungry.
Okay, you're not limited to one-word answers.
The fish. Why would a fish bite anything? Because he's fucking hungry. Like, duh.
Well, let me tell you something.
Are you new to fishing? Let me tell you.
Let me tell you something. These fish going upstream are interested in only one thing, and that is
Sex.
laying their what you call sex with a fairly graphic erotic understanding of what that means with fish, and once again parenthetically helping to fulfill your fantasy that one day as Sammy Salmon you will put your pin dick inside a very large female salmon that's ready to lay. I don't want to go into it, but there you have it.
I have lots of milt.
This is the background.
Yes.
And to answer your question is that when fish are in that direction, in that place in the stream, they're doing it because when they sit there and move their lips and their mouth and their gills, what they're doing is they're filtering all the water that comes at them, and that water goes into their mouth, and their gills trap stuff that is eatable, and out their gills, out the back of their gills, go little pieces of stone or graphic or minerals or whatever, and a fish eats by what's collected in his or her gills. Now, here's the thing. That creates in front of every fish a sucking motion. And if you put that fly directly in front of that fish's mouth, he will suck that fly into his mouth. It will get caught in his mouth, and that fish will say, "What the fuck?" and will jump out of the water 2 and 3 feet, and you see
Again, this feels like
completely out of the water a 20-pound, 26-inch salmon that's hooked right in the mouth. And so, hungry? Not so much
Okay.
as, yeah, I guess,
Okay,
but
okay.
it's part of the eating pattern.
okay, but this feels so much like shooting fish in a barrel, to use a metaphor that is obviously.
Let me describe something to
So,
you.
but like,
Two things.
but hold on. Could you have done it wrong so that you had failed? Or
What
is
do you
it,
mean?
or could anyone throw that line?
No. Here's why.
Because you have skill, and tell me how your
The
skill.
skill is this. The skill is understanding how to create what's called a natural drift, so that your fly that's tied on the end of your line looks like any other thing floating down the stream that's going to go inside a fish's mouth.
Okay.
And so that whole set of skills of depiction and decision making on line length and line size, and whether you put a floater on it so it drifts by or whatever. But here's
So if I were to put just a randomly chosen fly,
they would never catch a fish.
It would never.
They would never catch a fish. They would be so frustrated.
They'd be
because I
like,
could
"What
see
the?
them.
What is this debris
How
going
could
by?"
this be that there's all those fish? Now they might hook an occasional one that swam into their hook
Right.
and hook them in the back,
Right.
which is called a foul hook.
Ooh.
There's something called a fair hook and a foul hook. A fair hook, of course, is a fish that's hooked in the mouth area, the very clearly the side of his or her head. And so this is by all by way of background. Now here's the story that I wanted to tell you.
Finally.
Imagine one of these fish that characteristically, when it gets on your line, jumps out of the water and then runs upstream toward the bent log over the river.
Can we give him a name?
That the fish?
Yeah, Frank the fish.
No, let's call him Stormie.
Stormie the fish. Okay.
Let's call this fish Stormie.
Okay.
So Stormie, it's a nice touch. It humanizes
With an IE. With an IE.
It fisherizes.
Yeah.
It fishiizes it. It fishiizes it. It humanizes. No, not humanize. Fishiize. Oh, whatever.
Anthropopescan.
What's his name again? Stormie. I'm sorry. There's so much going on.
Stormie.
So
Yes.
Stormie.
Stormie's just swimming along.
Stormie runs like, shall we say, a 20-pound, 26-inch salmon with a hook in its head.
Yeah.
It says, I don't like this. Takes line out and runs upstream so fast that this is the sound of the reel in your hands. Like that.
Yep.
Every fisherman between you and the log, there being 4 of them, all know when I scream fish on, with that fish running like that so fast, they all pull their lines in and hold them while they see what happens.
Good
with this
gents.
fish.
Good gentlemen.
This fish, like all, are trying to go upstream because they know that will help them break off.
Sure.
Little do they know, or maybe they do know, that the bent tree over the river, if they can get there, it will break off.
Yeah.
Because that line will hit the tree and it'll snap because it's so tense. Remember, you got a 20-pound fish on line that's called 8-pound test.
But Stormie
So that
hasn't been up there
stretches.
since he was a
Stormie's
kid.
crazy. Stormie's headed for the log. What do I do in my training? There's another example of.
Whoa, Stormie, whoa.
Might be hard to do this. How do I whoa Stormie? I'm taught by my brother Tim,
Whoa the Stormie.
fisherman, is that I palm the reel, meaning that.
Palm the
I put my palm on that spinning reel, even though it starts to get hot.
You burn
and
your
I slow
palm.
it down so it goes and then the fish stops
Yeah.
4 feet in front of the log, and it's a fucking standoff. I got 30 feet of line out, or not 30 feet, 30 yards of line out.
Sure.
It's maybe 20 yards in a football field.
It's a long boy. Yeah.
Anyway, and you get to a certain point, you don't have any line, so the fish will take all of your line off your reel and go upstream.
And at this point, you have no visual too because it's way upstream.
It's way upstream, but
Right.
I did see it jump out of the water, which it did all the way up there.
Right.
Trying to twist and jump
But
off.
you.
There I am, fisherman watching, and that fish, not any fish, but what's his name? Stormie.
Stormie Daniels.
Says, well, fuck you. You think I'm stuck? Start swimming at me. Now imagine this. This
Fucking-
fly line is bright green.
Yeah.
That you can see easily, and then there's 15, 17 feet of line you can't see.
And all the
on the
men
end of that, of
are
course,
mocking you
is a
because like you're.
Oh, they're cheering. The fish jumping out while everyone's cheering, and they're all watching.
Go Dennis.
This
go,
fish
Dennis.
coming at me, all of that 30, 20 yards of fly line
You got to be like
is up in the air
Yeah.
and floating in the
God,
stream.
this
and,
is like-
and so you do exactly what you've just shown is you hold your line, your pole up, and you
As fast
just
as you can.
fast as you can. This fish was coming right at me.
He
By the
wants
time the
to
fish-
cut your throat.
To kill me. He wants to kill me. He'll do
Right.
anything to get off that.
Right.
And as he comes at me, I am so well caught up, but not quite caught up, that he screams past me. And as he does, I put my pole off upstream where he was, and I tighten the line slowly but surely, and he's still on the line.
So he hits
Breaking
the thing
off.
and just is like,
Didn't work.
okay.
And
Nice
then
try,
he's-
Stormy.
And where does he go? He goes to the next stage of the river, which I didn't describe, but after the place where the fish hold breathing, hungry,
Yeah.
eating. Just below that is another set of riffles where the water is less than a foot deep. That goes in a round circle to the right, riffles for 30 yards, and then goes into a bigger part of the river. Here's the thing, if those huge fish get in that 1 foot of water in those riffles with that water moving so quickly over the rocks that it's just so much, right? I get this fish down there,
No
palm
fish.
it again, and there it is. While I'm doing that, now I'm 30 yards. I'm in the middle, up. The fish went 30 yards, 20, 30 yards up, and the other fish went 20. So I'm right in the center of that spot. As I've got the fish stuck, I'm yelling to the netter, now or never, now or never. And as I say that, the hook
As I shout often
breaks
in my work. Yes.
off the salmon and comes at me at over 70 miles an hour and hits me square in the cheek and knocks me down in the water, fucking feet and back first.
Wait, what?
Absolute splash in the water. I thought I was shot in the head. The broken line
The broken line
and
hit
the
you.
beads
And the
hit
beads.
me. The beads are
Yeah.
the weight
Yeah,
you
yeah,
put on to make sure the fly goes low enough so the fish want it or see it. Wow. And it hit me. The hook had broken off. If the hook had been broken
Yeah.
off and I didn't have glasses on, it could have me out.
You'd
And
be
I'd
even
telling
uglier than
the
you are,
story
yes.
With a one eye. And,
Wow.
and I thought I was shot. And it sounded like a gun went off. It was this huge pop. And then bam, hit, and then oh, scream, and then feet up in the air and land in the water like a fucking pancake.
So,
Splash.
so wait. So
Blood on my face. Blood.
a fish slingshot you in the face,
Bam. Title. Subtitle.
right?
Deserving of the subtitle of this episode of this.
Stormy Daniels,
show.
we should call it. You went with Stormy.
Well, let's play off that. Not Stormy Daniels, but
Stormy Spankules. Yeah, I don't know. Wow, amazing.
Stormy Pajamas.
So you survived, but like, wow.
Oh, and yeah, I mean, I had
hold on.
blood in a cut.
On behalf of the fish, fuck yeah, let's smack these
Oh yeah,
these human fuckers in the face with their own weights.
yeah.
Like, wow. All right, well,
Yeah,
I'm
and
glad
this-
I'm glad you're not permanently disfigured.
This fish was,
I mean, 'cause you were already kind of-
what you call fair hooked, and so that was one of the reasons that I could keep him on the line, him or her, on the line so long in spite of all those theatrics.
Yeah.
Other fish that if you don't catch them in the mouth, let's say that when you're drifting up there and that you're getting in front of their mouths that are breathing, that it goes past that and one of the fish jerks and jumps or swims into your hook, you could hook them anywhere. You hook them on a fin, you could hook them in the back, you could hook them in the belly.
Right.
That's a foul hook. Foul hook fish. And when they're foul hook, usually they get away, they break off, or sometimes you can bring them in and net them. And you kind of keep track of the fish you caught, obviously. Some keep track of how many they hooked. In general, you kind of know, but landing is the number, is the performance measure for the fishermen. Most of whom are interested in what we call the numbers, right? But yeah, I mean that, and just to give you an idea how big these fish are, the biggest one for the most of the week was one I caught that was 37 inches long. So picture a fucking yardstick held in your hands, spread apart, and in there put a freaking 23-pound squirming hunk of muscle called salmon. Oh my God, they're so big. My brother caught one that was 41 inches. And it's
Wow.
the first time he'd ever caught a fish that big caught him himself and brought him in without any assistance from the other fishermen because he's a bit fishing addled, as we say.
Nice, nice. So
Tell me about Malta.
On my side, Malta. So Malta is this tiny, tiny little island. Like, if you open up the Mediterranean in your smartphone, you have to pinch to find Malta. It's a tiny little island. It's just south of Sicily, but it's like right exactly in the middle of the frickin' Mediterranean. So
it's so gorgeous.
Well, so like historically, it's been a really important place to own. In every civilization that has ever owned the Mediterranean, from the Phoenicians 7,000 years ago to...
Are those the ones that invented blinds for your windows?
Yes. The Phoenicians are the ones that came up with the base 12 numbering system, which is why
I think Phoenician blinds are more important.
Which is why our clocks are all based on 60 and 12, and like our clocks are all based on around that.
The Phoenicians were responsible
Indeed.
for that.
That is what.
And did they do that sitting on their desks, and so the sun would come in? They raised their Phoenician blinds.
Yes, I think that's how that worked. Yes.
Go there
yes.
with that.
Yes.
Just so we create some imagery. This is, after all, an oral show.
And so, but like the language that they speak there, Maltese, is like based on Phoenician, but like every single culture that has taken over, the Arabs, the Moors, the Italians, the Celtics,
the Germans,
the Romans, everyone has changed that island a little bit, and so that their language is like, according to my tour guide, the language has Arabic grammar, such that you append to the end of a verb the subject and gender of the subject, but that also like Italians can understand it in a weird way. Like it's crazy. Anyway, but it was yeah, right. It was a British colony for the longest time, and so therefore they drive on the left side of the road, and they're very British there. But it's weird because it's super. Everything's super Mediterranean and tropical.
So what's the accent? What's the typical accent?
I honestly don't know.
You heard it. What's it sound like? Imitate it.
Well, no, I honestly don't know because I can't say that I spoke with a native.
Maltese?
Yeah, because I was talking to hotel people. So.
Oh, right.
Who knows?
Well, they must have had an accent.
Yeah, they were very British.
British?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So anyway, there you are.
But so this is an island that our tour guide told us that the main industry was piracy, because right, like for hundreds of years, this was the place.
That's where I should have been born.
This was the place in the middle where all the important ships were going by, and you could just like pop out and like grab their ship.
North or south to them, right?
Yeah,
either direction.
So,
they were.
And Also, their claim to fame is that when the Apostle Paul
My favorite.
had been caught in, I don't know, somewhere, Africa somewhere, and was being transported back to Rome because he was an official Roman citizen, so he had to be tried in Rome. He was being transported there, and he shipwrecked on this island in the middle of the Mediterranean. And apparently he shipwrecked there, was able to convert everyone to Christianity, which was like not really a thing when he was, but whatever.
Well, it was pretty fresh.
It was super fresh.
Jesus, the Son of God, had just been tied to a tree and dead.
It was pretty fresh, but so they have a St. Paul's Cathedral there that is like.
And is it a cathedral in the grand sense, or is it just named that?
No. So I, as a European resident, have been to many cathedrals, and cathedrals, frankly, bore me now. Because they're all.
Let's just pause right there.
Hold on. They're all the same. They're all just like, oh wow, that's amazing. That's the same exactly thing. But to say that this one was one of the better ones. Because,
it was.
Yes, this was one of the better ones.
Wow.
I was like, oh wow, this is actually decent.
So your first point of what I would label perhaps cathedral arrogance was surpassed and overwhelmed by this one, to at least a point where
Indeed.
you said, I really am so bored with this shit, but this one, wow, huh?
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
So
it's got that going. I didn't see that.
This was cathedral plus ism. So
now there were in the depictions that were in the tiles and the decorations, there were birds, correct? Some birds, falcons perhaps, and thus the Maltese falcon.
Nice try.
After that.
I don't actually know where that came from. I imagine it's entirely I'm just going to imagine. I imagine it's entirely.
It's scientific.
It's Second World War.
Well, the source of, you're probably surprised I know this, but the source of that is that there was an assassin in World War II called the Maltese assassin. And one of the ways that assassin killed by knife, by any other weapons, included a trained falcon that ripped the throats out of the enemies of the country, of the island, of the dynasty.
Based from when? Because nice try. There was a.
It really wasn't.
There was.
Thank you for saying so. It was
apparently
it was as lame and witless as they come. But
apparently,
thank you for saying.
There was a novel in 1930 that started that, and my knowledge of this is that there was a movie with an actual
Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah. So, but also, I know that that Adam Savage of Mythbusters fame is super fascinated with remaking movie icons, and so he has spent thousands of hours in trying to recreate this exactly replica Maltese falcon. But
oh really?
yeah,
How do you know all that? How do you know all that? What, did you just look that up?
No, because I'm nerd adjacent to him, and like I like he is this. He's like Hollywood. Like he loves to recreate Hollywood stuff. Like first.
What's his name again? I heard it, missed it.
The guy from Mythbusters. His name is Adam Savage.
Oh yeah, Adam Savage, right?
And so he first of all, before Mythbusters, he and Jamie, whatever his companion is, they started making props for movies. Like they have created models that were in the Star Wars movies, but after that he got fascinated with like recreating stuff that were in movies. Anyway, so let's see. My daughter has been driving with
Grandpa and Grandma.
No, so far with instructors, but it's kind
Where
of
is she?
wild. Where is she?
Yeah, she's still in North Carolina.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I've been seeing pictures. It looks. I saw her at the No Kings rally,
Yes. Yes.
which actually is an opening for the political desk because it's newsworthy, and I say this as a person that does not want to make much of what's going on in my brain, much of what's going on with Trump, have it access to my brain so that I think that it means something more.
Right.
Than a deranged fucking orangutan orange fuck clown is running and doing everything he can to destroy democracy as we know it and establish, as he has been doing somewhat successfully, the beginning of a aristocracy, if not, as you and I have talked about, an oligarchy. But this one crosses the threshold of my brain for reasons I'll go into.
I've got friends who are younger than me. Let's say they're 40. And they look at the footage of the No Kings protests, and all they see are boomers. And they are like, these fucking boomers, like they had the best of everything. Like, I want to know what to respond, because it's like, yeah, like if you look at from the footage I've seen of protests, it's a lot of 60-plus-year-olds.
I'm not quite sure about that as the average age. I wouldn't be surprised if it were in the...
I would love it to be lower.
I think it is lower, but here's the point of the 7 million people that showed up, is that you can parse it with percentages and typologies and whatever, but at the end of the day, what really matters is that there's 7 million. Now, according to some, in order for a movement like this to have a political impact and a rising aristocracy or oligarchy, you need more people, more in the range of 10 to 12 million, and they need to protest not once every few months, but weekly, and if not weekly, then even better daily. When that starts to happen, then the power of the people is strong enough to overcome the opposition, because at the end of the day, it's not about people, it's about voters. And you've got to be so big, because even the people showing up for No Kings rallies, many of them are likely non-voters who we need to see at the polls. Likely they will be if they go to the trouble to attend a rally. They'll go to the trouble to register and then to be able to vote at the polls. But it is a beginning and a large example of just such a movement. 7 million is nothing to be sneezed at. What Trump said, and I quote, is, "Oh my God, it was so useless. It was so disorganized. There were low numbers." And you know, they paid for by George Soros, that liberal lunatic, and they mean nothing. That's what he said.
Well, but that's what his people would have told him, right? Because
or he can see it on TV. He's plenty able to whip up his own vitriol and stupidity. He doesn't necessarily need input from a staff to say stuff that's fucked up and Trumpian.
Okay.
He's able to look at a TV and know instantly what he needs to say. The other day, after the reporting came out, and worldwide reporting that showed it huge, he changed his tune, and instead he said, "I don't care." And so there we sit. And so we have midterm elections coming up, which of course is the next point of decision making that will either weaken or strengthen. There won't be a neutral ground. It'll either weaken or strengthen Trump's possession. But all the data that's coming out now is showing such an enormous trust within the Democratic Party of Democrats running the party, that to think that this party with such dissatisfaction in its leadership is going to somehow do the thing that's needed to do to tap into what at least 7 million people are willing to show up to protest. Can they tap into that successfully with things that will bring in 12, 13, 14, 20 million and have an impact on the midterms? Yet to be seen.
But the Democrats are such they're in a total, I don't know, like I don't see any leadership.
Here's a question that proves that your observation is not unusual. And that
Thank you.
is, can you tell me who you think is the head of the Democratic Party in the United States of America? Who's the head of it?
I have no idea, but I have requests.
For it to be you?
No, of course not to be me.
Is it the person who lost the election and lost every state that really mattered? And spent the money, and is it her?
No.
Well, why would it be her? She got cream. Oh, is it the former president of the Democratic Party who used an auto pen to sign the 3,000 releases of prisoners in the United States instead of signing it himself? That guy who's undergoing cancer treatment and is widely vilified as making a decision so late in the game that he ruined the chances. Is he the leader?
Don't know.
Why would it be him?
No.
It wouldn't be him. Oh, I know who it is. It's the person we think is going to, it's the chairman of the Democratic Party. Who's that? I have no fucking idea. I wouldn't know the head of the Democratic Party, the hired guy who runs it, under committee. I wouldn't be able to name any of those people for you. If you would promise me $1,000 to do it on the spot, I couldn't name one. Is one of them the head of the Democratic Party? Well, is it Gavin Newsom from California who wants to be the president of the state? Is it Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, who wants to be the president? Is it Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, who wants to be president of the United States? Let me tell you this. We've talked about this before. The next candidate for president coming out of the Democratic Party has to be a white male.
Can he be gay?
Because we have to swing voters over.
Can he be gay?
No, absolutely
Fuck,
not.
Pete.
Not
That was my
evil.
boy.
Well,
Pete was
you don't
my
need
boy.
to say that, but that is the first
Pete
thing
was my
that people
boy.
think about.
Fuck.
So, the landscape, the other piece of statistic that's
I mean,
alarming
if we can
is
make
that the percentage of people that are polled who are expected to vote and see things change is so remarkably low that there are red alarms and whistles and bells going off all over the Democratic Party. And you know what it's saying to them? It's saying two things. One, who the fuck is your leader? And number two, what in the fuck is he or she saying this party stands for? Most recently, it's health care and the closing of the United States federal government for 19 days is proving beneficial for at least the Democratic message, but not so much the leadership. Maybe the leader is Schumer, the senator from New York, who's the minority leader in the Senate, former majority leader in the Senate, growing in age. Is it what's her name?
AOC.
Yeah, AOC.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Yes.
Yes.
But-
Who is on a tour with Bernie Sanders throughout the United States and drawing thousands and thousands at these rallies. We won't decide until we decide who is going to be the Democratic nominee, which means forever. And in the meantime, we're wasting time and wasting potential. So this idea that I had that, oh my God, he's so terrible and people will stand up. This is what we also know from the polls. The people who are voters do not give a fuck about whether the issue of the day is to save democracy. Democracy's fine as long as I'm not fucking poor. And if there's an option to democracy that keeps me more than better enriched, I'm probably okay with that. I don't care about a lot of this stuff because it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me.
Okay.
We're in trouble, bro. We're in trouble. Deep trouble as we reach the fucking midterms.
So it's not you, because you're too old. And it's not me, although it's either me or Alexandria.
No, it's gonna be Gavin Newsom.
Who has his own, his own ego complex. But
well,
fine, whatever.
The governor of California is important because he brings with him so enormous number of electoral votes, and also he does fulfill quite nicely my thinking that what's necessary is to at least placate the middle ground conservatives
but the
right
the rest,
wing who expect a man to be president of the United States. I'm sorry that that's the case, but that has to happen.
But the rest
that.
of the
Gretchen Whitmer doesn't fit that. AOC doesn't fit that. He's got, and plus I add this, it's true. He's handsome.
he's pretty. He has a penis, but like I feel like he's tainted by all of what the rest of the country thinks about California. So he's gonna.
Well, you can try to, why don't you give a call to the Reagan Institute and see what they say about that.
All right, I'll call them right now. Reagan. Yes. Nah, I don't know. We'll see.
Also,
what a disappointing.
Well, I'm sorry for the tremulous report, but it is
Tremulous.
It is what it is. Now, my wife and sister-in-law attended the event. I had every intention of going, but other personal matters came up which precluded my attendance.
Oh dear.
But, it involves now a circus-like atmosphere with people dressed in costumes and live music,
Right?
and people dancing in the areas around the where the traffic is running by and the cars are beeping, and all the reports are the vast majority of cars beeped in agreement, and many cars who didn't beep, And out of perhaps 600, 700, 800 cars that my wife saw, she only saw 2 times where there's somebody gave them the finger or something like that. So when I went to the one I went to, it was rewarding in that. Because you realize that with this traffic, hundreds and hundreds of cars going by, we're on main streets in these towns.
Yeah.
The horn beeping and the thumbs up was high majority of, extremely high majority. How many vote? How many will vote that way and forget about their wallet for a minute? Or who knows?
Yeah.
But it's not nothing. That's for sure.
Life is hard. So good. Let's see. I went to Malta.
Entertainment desk.
So I had a thought, but then I lost it. Never mind.
You seem to be starting to go into some type of a coma of some kind. So
I had a thought.
Let me suggest that from the entertainment desk
Yes,
that I
please.
give you some homework.
Please.
A movie called Fight or Flight. And it is, you will agree when you say it, one of the most unusual and entertaining movies you've ever seen, starring Josh Hartnett in what I consider to be an unusual role for him that he knocks out of the ballpark.
Okay.
It is fucking great. Fight or Flight. That's your homework for the desk. And we are...
Interesting.
What have you been doing for the past 35 minutes? What are you drinking in there? What are you drinking over
I've been
there?
listening to your nonsense, talking about fishing and shit.
Now I know you're drunk. If you think this brilliant shit coming out of my mouth is nonsense, oh God,
No,
God,
that's what I said.
wasting like pearls before swine.
Like swine before pearls.
I say, verbal pearls. Venerable verbal pills. We'll be known for this. This episode may be the one that they show when, I don't know, when one of us dies. Who'll die first? Probably you.
All right, you gonna take us out?
Take us out?
Take us out?
Take you out, motherfucker. What? Oh, I woke up this morning with a headache.
Yeah.
I didn't know where it came from. Then I remembered the velvet and gloves you wore when you returned and came home. I remember asking, where have you been, dear? With those gloves so lush and so soft. And she just brushed right by me and tugged those soft gloves off. Oh, her companion that night found them lush, and he knew that he'd drawn a flush. He felt like he'd finally been delivered, while the old man slept and he quivered. Their love was quite clearly over, as he rolled and rolled and rolled over. I need me a four-leaf clover to make my luck change. Oh, the gloves that she wore were so precious. I know they must have felt so delicious but I was not the one who could feel them. That was a man I'll call Jim.
Fucking A.
That right? What? I could go on.
Like, fuck Jim.
So,
Fuck off, Jim. Love you, bro.
That's funny. Oh, God.
Boy, that was a lot of fun. That's it for episode number 263. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/263. There's a link to a cool video about Adam Savage and the Maltese Falcon thing. You can help support the show at patreon.com/happyhour, where we would love to get some of your love in dollars. See you next week.